well and everything is okay. Assalamu alaikum. We are now 5, so let's wait guys 1 more minute for your friends and then we're gonna start our lesson. Okay, Bismillah, let's get started. We have here, pay attention please with me. We'll talk first, I will explain for you first a lot of concepts and the skills of this lesson, and then we will start directly on the lesson. Okay, Bismillah. First of all, I'm going to talk today about, or our period will be about how to find the area under the curve by using the Reminns sum and by using either the right endpoints rule or the left endpoints rule or using the midpoint rule. Okay, and then also we will take the definite integral. So let's start first here. If we have a function and this function f of x is equal to x squared plus 1. Okay, yes, as you know, if you would like to graph this function, I will graph it here quickly in the xy plane. When we graph x squared plus 1, it's a parabola. So we have here the y-intercept or the starting point gonna be what 1, right? And then it's a parabola like this, right? It extends into direction, it's parabola. So in my lesson here, let me find the area by using the definition of definite integral and also by using the approximation. So I will take only the positive part or the positive branch of this parabola. I will cancel the negative part and I will study the area here under what this curve or under this parabola. Okay, the first way we have to learn that we can find the area by using the definite integral area equal, or by using integral the antiderivative between on the closed interval 0 to 2, for example. Okay, so we can here write the lower limit of the integral, which is 0, and the upper limit of the integral, which is 2, of the function x squared plus 1 dx. And then simply we will add 1 to the exponent, gonna be x power 3 over 3 plus the integral here of 1, which is x, and then we evaluate this from 0 to 2. We will start first by plug in 2 first. So we have 2 to the power of 3, 2 to the power of third, which is 8, and this all over 3, pay attention please, and then plus 2, this in one parentheses, minus the plug in the lower limit of the integral, which is 0 instead of x. So we have now 0 to the power of 3, which is 0 over 3, 0 over 3 minus our plus 0 here, plus 0. When we evaluate this integral, which means here the area under this curve and the x-axis from 0 to 2, from 0 to 2 here, this distance from 0 to 2 here, equals 8 over 3 plus 2, gonna give us here directly what? 8 plus 3, yeah, this all will be 0, right? 8 over 3 plus 2, we will multiply up and down by 3. So we have 8 over 3 plus 6 over 3. So it's what? It's 14 over 3. And we can find it as a decimal. So we can find it as a decimal, 14 over 3, which is 4 point what?
4.6.
No, exactly, 4.6 what?
It's 4.6 and continuous. So 66666.
Okay, so let's say 67, right?
Yes.
Okay, and don't forget, guys, I would like you to keep in mind this area. Why, mister? Because this is the exact answer. because this is the exact area or the exact answer of this antiderivative x squared plus 1, which is bounded between 0 and 2, or the area under the curve from 0 to 2, and the x-axis under the curve. This curve is x squared plus 1, or f of x, or y, equal x squared plus 1, and this area here. Our goal today not only to find the area by using the definite integral, but also to approximate the area. How to approximate the area? Is to approximate the area. We got the answer like this. We have to divide here the area under this curve into small and smaller rectangles. So let's start first by dividing here this area between 0 and 2 into 4 rectangles. Imagine that we have this figure again. I'll draw a big one. Oh, here is the curve, for example. Here is the y-axis, and here is what? The x-axis, and this curve is x squared plus 1, for example, and here is 0 to 2. Yes, 0 to what? 2. We will divide here this into rectangles, but it's based on what? Reminns sum. What Reminns sum? Before we start, if we divide it, guys, into rectangles, like here is 1, and here is what? 2, and here is 3 and 4, and we have rectangles like this. Okay, sorry. We have rectangles. We have rectangles like this here, and if you do here a rectangle and here another rectangle, this way, which is called what? Dividing the area under the curve into smaller rectangles into 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles, or you can divide it into 8 rectangles and so on. But basically, let's start first by what? By the rectangle. Let's say a rectangle now. So ناخد one rectangle and let's study or explain here what. Let's explain here what's the rectangle. Each rectangle consists of what? Consists of x1, x2, x3, x4, and so on. So it's a delta x, as we explained yesterday. Delta x here is the width. Delta x is what? Is the width, is delta x. What delta x? Since we can say مثلا ان x0 هي x, ان 0 x0 وبعدين هنا x1 and then here x2 and so on, x3 and so on. حلو, and so on till xn. So we can say that delta x here is the width of what? The rectangle. And sure, what's the height? What's the height here? What's the distance? What's the height here, Ashif? Who can tell me what's the height? For example, if here 1, so how can you know the height now? Which is f of 1, right? Which is y. So it's f of x. You can say it's f of x, or you can say that the height here is y. Well, not the height here, mister, but it's what? Length, right? So the length here is f of x. Pay attention, guys, from the beginning. So my height here is what? F of x, and my width now is delta x for each rectangle, So another way to find the area under the curve, or the old way, which is the Riemann sum, which is this simple, you know it, sigma, or the summation. I have I1, I2, and I3, x1, x2, x3, x4, x, and so on. So we will say that from I or K, زي الكتاب, equals 1 to n. I have a lot of what? Rectangles till n of what? Delta x times f of x. Delta x اللي هو length times width. Why? Because what's the area of any rectangle in geometry? Length times width, right? What's the length? We see the f of x or y value, or at this point. Times the W means the width up here, which is delta x. So my final answer is delta x, f of xi, and I here represents x1, x2, x3, and so on. It may be the sum of some x's here. Okay, this is the way also we can find the area, but not the exact area. Pay attention, please. Not the exact area. It's the approximate area. Okay, till now it's clear. It's the approximate what? The approximate area. Any questions, guys? So we will not start till yet. I just divided the area under the curve into 4 parts, and let's talk, guys, about three ways, 3 approximations. And keep in mind that the exact answer, the exact area is 4.6067. So this is the exact area. And now what's the idea? The idea is to find the sum of all rectangles down or under the curve, and then add up all the areas by finding the sum from I to what? Sorry, the sum of delta x f of x, and then add up واستخدمها وطلع. ماشي. شباب, that we have next page. I'm gonna talk about from right and from left. How from right and from left? Let me draw here. I will take only the x-axis or draw the number line. If I draw here a number line.
One second بس. أخذ
Yes.
صورة بس من السكرين.
Okay.
Done. Thank you.
Okay. Let me only, Mr. take the x-axis which is from 0 to 2. Okay. And represent this here. And عندنا function x squared plus 1. Yes. And we would like to find the area in a bounded area between 0 and 2. So if we divide this area into 4 rectangles as you see here before in the previous figure here, لازم يكون distance between them على معايير معينة. Okay, because I have 3 ways. You have 3 rules. It's called the left area, or the left endpoint area, or the left endpoint rule. Okay, and the right hand points rule and the midpoint rule. Okay, to find the approximate area, or to approximate the area. So simply I will divide here this distance between 0 and 2 أو أي closed interval يعتبر لك على function f of x equal x squared plus 1. I will find first the delta x. So pay attention, please. Delta x equal b minus a over n. b minus a over n. How, Mr.? هنشوف يا شباب. What is b? هنا a اللي هنغير الكلام. Here is a which is 0, and here is what? And here is b which is 2. So simply it's gonna be 2 minus 0 and this all over what? n. طيب n هنا انت اشتغل على ايه؟ يعني لما جيت قسمت الاريا under the curve قسمتها how many sub intervals? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So my n now is 4. طب can we make it 8? Yes, you can. You can increase your rectangles and you can increase your sub intervals, and directly the more you increase your sub intervals and your rectangles, the more accurate approximation you're gonna get, right? Yes. تعال نشوف ال n is 4. Why? Because I divided my what area or my into 4 rectangles. Okay. So 2 minus 0 is 2 over 4, which is now half. Delta x represents the width of each rectangle. يعني here مفروض من 0 للnext part here x1 should be half. From x1 to x2 should be what? 1.0, and then from x2 to x3 it should be 1.5 and so on till 2. Okay, guys? يعني we divided the distance into 4 parts. So it's 0.5 and then 1.0 and then 1.5 and then 2. 4 intervals. So 4 sub-intervals because I divided my area under this curve into 4 rectangles. And what are we doing now, guys? We have to find the approximation of the area under this curve using Reminns sum. and compare it with the exact area we found by using a definite integral definition. Okay, so you can do this by many ways, أو 3 ways عشان نكون specified شوي. The first way is to find the area. Let's start by the area left. What is the area left? Area left is called the left endpoint. The endpoint what? The area left means the area using the left endpoint rule. يعني ايه the left endpoint rule؟ يعني I'm gonna take only the points. Pay attention please. I'll do it here with this color green عشان نشوفوا. الليفت يبقى اخد from the left اخد all points except 2. اخد الزيرو with 0.5 and 1 and 1.5. So as you know now guys that your area gonna be the summation or sigma I equals 1 to what? To 4. N now is 4. يعني the number of subintervals you have, the number of rectangles you have are 4. And we said that here it's what delta x times f of xi, right? So delta x, what is delta x? Let's write the rule here. Delta x times f of xi, which is equal to, pay attention please, the summation notation or sigma I equals 1 to 4. Delta x ما احنا عارفينها مستك, which is 0.5. This is delta x times f of x. So pay attention please. لما تكون شغال على left or by using the left endpoints rule, you have to use only all points from the left except this one too. Okay? يعني the leftmost points 0, 0.5. How to do it? I'm gonna find f of 0 plus f of 0.5 and plus f of 1.0 or 1 plus f of what? 1.5 only. Okay, and close your bracket here and find the answer. So you have to prepare a calculator. I do not have a calculator. You have to do this all, guys. The function is x squared. The function is x squared plus 1. So you have to do 0 plus 1, which is 1. Okay, so let's write it here first. Now I'm gonna cancel here the summation notation because we already did it inside. Okay, we will multiply 0.5, 0.5 also cancel here, 0.5, and please evaluate. We said this one is 1. F of 0.5, يعني 0.5 to the power of 2, and then plus 1, يعني quarter plus 1, which is 1.25, right? 1.25 plus. We have f of 1. F of 1 means 1 squared plus 1. Work with me, guys. It's 2. Okay, then plus 1.5 squared plus 1 gonna give us yes, 2.25 plus 1, which is 3.25. Multiply your answer here by 0.5. Multiply your answer by, يعني take the half of the sum. يعني add first and then take the half of the sum to find the area by using the left endpoint rule. Yes, what's the answer? 1 and 1.5 and 3.25 gives here 7.25. 7.25, half of it equals 3. What? 3.75.
3.625.
625, right? Or about 3.75. Yes. So I will write here the exact area from the previous slide اللي احنا جبناها باستخدام the definite integral 4.67, and here is my first approximation is 3.75 and the exact is 4.67. This is the exact one, exact answer, exact area. So let's compare here, guys, the two areas together. What do you notice here, guys? 3.75 and 4.67, يعني what?
This one is lower.
Is lower. So we say in the increasing function x squared plus 1, when you find the approximate area using the left endpoints rule, you will your estimation will be underestimate. Okay? Underestimate. دايما في increasing and vice versa in the decreasing function like 1 over x and so on. Okay, let's move on to another kind of approximation, another type of approximation, which is the area يعني by using the right endpoints rule. The right endpoints rule using the same Riemann sum also and everything, which is delta x equals 1 to 4, delta x, which is the width of the rectangle, times f of xi. Yeah, let's move back. The delta x is here, guys. We have delta x1, delta x2, and so on. So the delta x constant here. And مين اللي بيتغير؟ The height of the rectangle. And this figure you have now is already the exact graph of finding the area using the rightmost points. يعني ايه rightmost points? Let's draw here the number line again. And the question is asking us to find or approximate the area of this function f of x equal x squared plus 1 on the closed interval 0 to 2. And we found that the delta x زي ما انتم شايفين وطلعت half. يعني the distance between each point and the next point should be half. Okay? So we have here 0.5 and we said here is 1 and then 1.5 and then 2. The previous way, we took only the leftmost points, 0 and 0.5 and 1 and 5. Sure, here the rightmost, I'm gonna take sure, the 2, آخد ال 2, آخد ال 1.5 and the 1 and 0.5, يعني all except 0. Okay, so let's do it. Yeah, how can do it, guys, as the upper one here? It's delta x, which is 0.5 multiplied by the height, which is f of 0.5, okay, plus f of 1 plus f of what? F of 1.5 plus f of what? 2 equal 0.5. يبقى حسبنا كله except 0 now because we are finding the approximate area using the right endpoints rule. 0.5 وبعدين multiply by f of 0.5. Evaluate, guys. 0.5, f of 0.5 is 1.25 plus f of 1, we said it's 2, plus f of 1.5, we said it's 3.25. طبعا باخد الانسرز من هنا like this one because we already did it before or we calculated before. And then f of what? Of 2, which is 5, right? Yes, and then add up 1.25 plus 2 plus 3.25 plus 7 and multiply your answer by 0.5. What's the answer? Yes? Guys, do it.
$5.75.
It's what?
5.75.
5.75. Okay, let's circle it here and then let's compare it with the exact answer, 5.75, and the exact area is 4.67, which is overestimate, right? Overestimate. So guys, in an increasing function, when you find or using the right endpoints rule, you will find that your approximation is more than the exact answer. If you would like to approach the exact answer, يعني لو جالك question, find the exact answer. If you know that the area from the left, our area L means the area using the approximation area using the leftmost points, and the area right, which is using the rightmost points. One of them is 3.75 and the other is 5.75. We can find here the average of the two areas. Let's do it. AL plus AR, and this all over 2. If we average the two areas we found right now, or the approximation of the two areas we found right now, 3.75 plus
4.75.
Yes, and then divide by 2 gives what?
4.75.
4.75, which is more accurate or nearly the same as what? The exact answer. So This is one information you should know, and you will not find it in the book. So again, guys, if you add AL and AR together and divide by 2, and if you average them, average the two approximation from right and left, gonna give us the exact or nearly the same as the exact answer. This is if you would like to answer quickly. We still have one more kind of type of approximation, which is using the midpoint. What? The midpoint. The midpoint بقى اللي هي more accurate or the most accurate one. Most accurate one. Let's do it in the next page. Yeah. So again, the function f of x is equal to x squared plus 1. This is an example here for an increasing function on the closed interval 0, 2. And I already graphed here. This graph here is a parabola, and we are studying here the area under only the positive branch of this parabola and the x-axis by dividing the area into smaller and smaller rectangles. احنا شغالين على 4 rectangles ولسه هنشتغل على 8 rectangles. طيب f of x equals x squared plus 1. حلو. In the closed interval 0 and 2. And we know that the approximate area m يعني midpoint equals summation from I equals 1 to 4, and I divided the intervals into 4 rectangles. Delta x, the width, delta x, and the difference between each x and the next one. And what f of xi. This is your rule. Okay, mister. Let's draw here now the same number line from 0 to 2. The number line that represents what? Represents the x-axis and how the sub-intervals are divided. We said we have 4 rectangles, يعني 5 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you are using only 4 in the formula. So we have here 1.0 يعني 1, and here 0.5, and here what? 1.5. Why Mr. 1.5 و 0.5 وكده؟ Because delta x يعني مين اللي بيحدد ال distances between each x and the next one? Delta x. Delta x here it should be half. How to use it? How to find قصدي? b minus a over n. b 2 minus a 0 over n. n هنا sub intervals are 4. We divide it into 4 rectangles. So as you see here, guys, in the midpoint, pay attention please, in the midpoint rule of the approximate area by using a midpoint rule, قالوا هناخد midpoints. So where is the midpoint? Here the midpoint between 1 and 1.5, the midpoint between 1.5 and 2. But what's the midpoint between 0 and 0.5? 0. Add them and divide by 2, 0.25. What's the mid or halfway between 0.5 and 1? Yes, it's what? 0.75. What's the midpoint between 1 and 1.5? It's 1.25. Yeah, guys, you're sleepy today. 1.5 and 2, the halfway is 1.75. Okay, and the way here is to, let's see here, guys, find the area of the approximate area by using a midpoint rule, which is delta x, عارفينها delta x, which is 0.5 multiplied by f of الكلام ده 0.25. I'm gonna take 4 points. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4. And the previous question also we took 1, 2, 3, 4. And the previous one from the left, from the right. دايما take 4. So let's move here back and find the f of 0.75 and then plus f of, this is the summation, 1.25 and then plus f of 1.75, which are all the midpoints on this what? Sub-intervals. Yeah, 0.5 and then multiplied by, let's calculate here, f of 0.25 in the original function here, f of x equals x squared plus 1. I need calculator. 0.25 squared plus 1. Yes. 0.25 squared and then plus 1.
1.06.
Okay.
1.0625.
ده بعد 62 خلاص يبقى 1.06. طيب هنا f of 0.75 0.75 squared plus 1
1.56.
1.56 plus f of 1.25 here, it's what?
2.56.
2.56. Okay, plus the last one, f of 1.75.
4.06.
4.06. Okay, yes, let's add here all and then multiply the answer by 0.5 or take the half of the answer. Yes. 1.06 plus 1.56 plus 2.56 plus 4.06 and then multiply by 0.5. Gonna give us here the approximate area using the
4.62
midpoint rule. 4.62. Okay, put it here inside the rectangle and pay attention, please. Let's move back, guys, على the exact answer. The exact area كانت 4.67 and here 4.62, which is the most accurate one. So, always, guys, if you'd like to find the most accurate approximation of any area under the curve, you can find أو استخدم midpoint. Okay, 4.62. 4.62. Any question? Okay.
No, Mr.
We still have to graph only the three cases. Yes, the first case, here is the graph. X squared plus 1. Let's graph here. The first one by using the left what?
Area.
The left endpoint rule. The left endpoints rule. طيب احنا كنا من 0 till 2, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. And then we said that delta x is half. And here is 0.5 and here is 1 and here is what? 1.5. خلي بالك انا باجي الاول اعمل lines like this, draw vertical line, and then because we are moving, guys, من left to right, so we have to find only this areas. Okay, this area. Alaikum salam. 1 minute, please, guys. Okay, guys. Okay. Sorry. Let's complete. Okay, let all graphing, guys, in the next period. I will stop it here. Okay, and then we're gonna complete, guys, how to graph the right and the left and the other one in the next in the next period. We have another period today. Okay, so I will erase it all, and I will leave this part in the next session, inshallah. Thank you, and goodbye. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Mr.